Hey loves, today we are going to cut and style a bob wig. So before you cut and style your bob wig, you want to position your mannequin very well. You have to tilt it forward small, just a little bit, so that you can have a very fine cut. And when you are cutting, you make sure that it is at your eye level so that you can see very well and cut very well. And with this cutting, I'm cutting at where the closure ends, exactly where the closure ends, because I didn't use a different length for the bob wig. I used the same length of bundles. I used 3 bundles of 8 inches and 8 inches closure, I think. So with this one, I want to have a very perfect bob. Therefore, I have to cut it at where the closure ends, since I don't want the wig looking like the closure is flying away whilst the hair is also doing its own thing. There are certain things that you have to take into consideration when cutting a bob wig. First, you want your closure to align with the wig very well. So I advise I use different lengths of bundles and then a different length of the closure. When you are doing a bob wig and let's say you want a 10 inches bob, you have to use an 8 inches, 10 inches and a 12-inch closure. So that when you cut, you can get like a perfect 10-inch bob. But in this case, we are using a pack hair. And with pack hairs, mostly the hairs are of the same length. This hair was brought by a client. He wanted me to sew it for her. By the way, I accept client bundles for wig making. You can check my Instagram page out at two_trina.hair. I'll put all the links in the description box below. Okay, so as I was saying, when cutting your bob wig, you have to make sure that everything aligns very well. So after cutting everything, I just go back in and cut all the tiny pieces beneath it. As you can see, I had to tilt the mannequin so that I can cut the tiny pieces beneath it. When you are walking, it is sometimes you see bob wigs, and when the person bend down or look down, you can see that underneath was not cut very well. That's why after cutting, I still tilt my mannequin forward a little bit to cut everything that is underneath it. So after cutting, then we move on to the styling process. The styling process is very easy, but you have to take your time and be very careful with it. You have to consider the type of style your client wants. This client didn't want it as a blunt cut, wanted it as a bob, but then didn't want it to be too bobby. How should I even say it? They didn't want it like the end to curl very much, just wanted a slight bob. So as you can see, as I straighten it, I bend the straightener a little, just a little, so that the bob can have that heaviness. If you are doing a bob wig and you are straightening it, you have to bend the straightener a little bit to have that heaviness and the swing that bobs come with. But with the blunt cut, if you are doing the blunt cut, you just have to pass the straightener through and just straighten it. But with the bob, when you get to the tip, you have to bend it. And with the styling too, I like to work in sections. As you can see, with sections, it makes everything very simple and easy to do. Just work in small sections. Since this unit was made on a sewing machine, you can start by going in with one track after the other. You take your first track, then you straighten, then you move on to the next track, then you straighten it. And with the tracks too, you have to divide it. You can't the strainer can't just pass through everything, so you have to take your time. With each track, you can, I think, divide it in like 4, 5, 3, depending on the size of your straightener and how well you are good with straightening hair. But as a beginner, I advise you work in very small sections, like small sections as a beginner. Okay, so as you can see, we are still on the straightening process, and we are getting to the top part of the straightening process. And with the top part too, I like to take my time, because if you are not careful, your hair will be too bulky at the top or be too thin, and the bob won't be even. So when you get to the upper part of your bob wig, I like to go into with like smaller sections than what I did earlier on. It depends on the type of hair and the quality of hair you are using as well. But in all cases, just working in sections will help you achieve a great result. And when I'm straightening too, I like to pass the straightener not once, not twice. Sometimes with certain hairs, when you pass through once or twice, you can really see that the hair has really straightened and it doesn't need so much work. But with other hairs too, you have to go in like 4, 3 or 5 times. It all depends on how you feel like the straightening process has been. Then when you are done with all your tracks, then you make your way through the closure part. And with the closure section too, you have to divide it depending on the type of closure you are working with. Currently we are working on the 4x4 closure. So with the 4x4 closure, I like to section it in 3 parts. I like to section it into 3. With other closures as well, talking about the 5x5 and the 6x6, you can go in and section it with 4 or 5 parts. All depends on how you can work your way around it and make sure that you have a very flat and secure wig. With this one, you can see that it's already flat, because before you bob your wigs, you have to straighten it. No, before you cut your wig into a bob, you first have to straighten it. I should have said this earlier on. Even before you think of cutting the wig into a bob or blunt, you have to straighten the hair. That's why you didn't see me putting any heat protectant spray in it or anything, because I did all that and I straightened the hair. If you want another video on the products that I use before straightening my hair, let me know in the comment section and I'll do a detailed video on the type of products to use on your hair and how to straighten your wig. This video is mainly about how to style a bob wig. So I did a straightening before cutting it. You have to make sure that you straighten before cutting. And after doing your bob or blunt style, and I still feel like the closure part is a little bit bulky, I go in back in with my wax stick and my flat comb to make sure that everything is very well. And this is where I was done with everything, and the wig looking very nice. Sent it to the client. The client was very happy and satisfied with the look. For more details about styling and everything, you can check my Instagram page out. I also have a catalog. Stay with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this video was helpful. Thank you, and let's stay connected on my socials. See you next time. Bye.